Yes, people, and welcome back to Yorkshire Lad Talks Football, and welcome back to another video. It's the second episode today of Chelsea transfer news, and we've got 4 stories for you today. Before I start, if you're new to the channel, please could you subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, and leave a comment telling me who you think Chelsea should sign. And before I start also, I've got to say thank you so much to my new subscribers. You're all legends. Glad to have you on the journey, and yeah, turn your bell notifications on so that you never miss an upload. Let's get straight on with story number 1 then, and to kick off this Chelsea transfer news video, it's about Tammy Abraham. Yes, Tammy Abraham is in my thumbnail, is going to kick off this video, and it's because Matt Law, about 4 or 5 days ago, he reported that Arsenal have an interest in Tammy Abraham, which is slightly worrying, because we do not want to give Arsenal a helping hand to improve, because we know Aubameyang's misfiring, we know Lacazette's quite inconsistent, and they do need a striker to bang in them goals, and Tammy Abraham could certainly do that for Arsenal. And following on from Matt Law's article about 5 days ago, where he did talk about Arsenal's expressive interest, we did find out that Andy Dillon yesterday on Twitter, I think he's like a freelance journalist, but there are reports that he's got multiple transfers right in the past. The Sun also did an article on this yesterday, and it stated that Arsenal have agreed a loan fee or about to beat off competition from West Ham, Aston Villa and Spurs to the signing of Tammy Abraham. A loan deal with an obligation to buy for £40 million next summer. So yeah, Tammy Abraham has got a potential move to Arsenal on the cards here. My thoughts on it, my thoughts are that it's slightly worrying. I'd have much preferred Tammy Abraham to go to someone like Villa or West Ham, not a potential rival next season. Arsenal seem to be making moves in this transfer window, and to tell you what, Tammy Abraham could be kind of the missing piece of their jigsaw. And could you imagine the likes of Smith Rowe, Nicolas Pepe when he finds proper form again next season? Aubameyang playing off Tammy. They just need that poacher, that goal scorer, and Tammy Abraham is exactly that. He was Chelsea's top goal scorer last season in all competitions, which was remarkable to say. He didn't barely get a look in under Tuchel. And then the season before, in his first season under Frank, he was also Chelsea's top goal scorer, and he got 15 goals in the Premier League. So Tammy Abraham leaving, yes, I wouldn't mind it if we were to bring an Erling Haaland or a Romelu Lukaku in, or a top striker like that. But I would keep him. I certainly would keep him for the time being until we find a ready-made replacement. Because we're missing out on goals there. We are missing out on goals. And if you can't get a ready-made replacement in, you'd keep him, because there's goals there. There is goals. And if we're going to give goals to Arsenal, it's slightly worrying, because it's going to improve Arsenal and help them improve dramatically. On to story number 2 now. And as I've mentioned, Chelsea do need to find a ready-made replacement for Tammy Abraham. They really do, because we're chucking out goals, but we need more goals in. As we saw last season, Timo Werner kind of struggled, and we do need some goals bringing into the side. And it's led to believe that Chelsea, Sportbill reported yesterday that Chelsea are contemplating a £50 million offer for Robert Lewandowski. That sounds nice. Chelsea fans are getting worried now, because there's not many rumours at the minute, and we do need to add to our squad to build on what we built last season. Because we've seen the mistakes in the past of the board. Conte's won the league, Jose's won the league, and they've both been sacked the following seasons from not being kind of supported by the board and being able to build on what they've already built. So yeah, we do need to bring someone in. But Lewandowski, £50 million offer potentially. For a 32-year-old, that seems quite astronomical, but we know how good Lewandowski is still. He's still world class, and he's probably in the top 2, top 3 strikers in the world, and he guarantees goals. We said that about Timo Werner though, but you can almost say Lewandowski will bring goals. He's too good not to bring goals into a Chelsea side. So that is interesting to hear. Maybe his age is a bit questionable, but if you want a quick fix for the next 2-3 years maybe, or 1 to 2 years, Lewandowski could be the man. So that does interest me. Keep your eye out on that one. Sportbill reporting that Lewandowski is a target for Chelsea if they don't get Haaland with a £50 million bid. And on the same topic of bringing a striker in, there's more links about Romelu Lukaku, who, you know what, I'd actually prefer him to Erling Haaland. I really love Romelu Lukaku, and if you're going to spend 150 million on Haaland, I think it's ridiculous when you can get him for 64 million next year. And the rumours are that Lukaku's got about between an 80 and 100 million price tag, which I think is much more reasonable. It's very much more reasonable. And it's something, if I was Chelsea, I would certainly be looking at, because Romelu Lukaku is world class now. And there's 3 rumours that have come out over the past couple of days. I'll just read them out to you. So we've got the Sun reporting that Lukaku is Chelsea's top target behind Erling Haaland, and the communication is hot. We've got Simon Johnson of The Athletic, Chelsea's probably most reliable journalist, coming out and saying the deal is not dead. One club he would leave for is Chelsea, which is, I think that's big. That is big, because we know Lukaku has an affiliation with Chelsea. He was at the club in the past, and there's potential, as Simon Johnson says there, that he would be happy to come back, which says a lot to say he's had such a good season at Inter Milan. He won the league under them, but it's probably because Antonio Conte left that he still has a desire to potentially come and join Chelsea. But that's big nonetheless, especially coming from Simon Johnson, who's probably one of Chelsea's most reliable sources. And the third little piece of news is Andy Dillon again, who actually reported on the Tammy Abraham news, as I reported earlier, that Chelsea are stepping up their interest in Romano. Could be tempted, though, in 12 months to go for Erling Haaland for 64 million, which, as I've said, is probably more realistic if Chelsea need to go for Haaland, because I do not fancy us paying 150 million for him. I think it's an astronomical sum, and I think it's a ridiculous sum when Chelsea can benefit elsewhere with the likes of, let's say, bring Lukaku in, Declan Rice, and maybe a centre-back. That would be a much more profitable window, and a window that would help benefit the squad in general and going into the new season. And it would help actually build something far greater than what Erling Haaland would come in by himself going forward. As I've said, Chelsea do need to build on what they achieved last season. So yeah, getting a few in rather than one Haaland signing would be best for the squad. Now on to the third and fourth news pieces. I'm going to tie them together, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, because once they are confirmed, along with a couple of other youngsters, there's a few exits from Chelsea at the minute with youngsters from the academy and some of our super talents as well. So I'm going to actually do a video on this, discussing my full thoughts on this when all three go through, because the two I'm going to talk about are Bate and Livramento, our right wing back. But yes, let me get into the news. Nizar Cancela has reported on both of these, and it's that Bate, the 18-year-old Chelsea academy midfielder, has agreed to join Leeds, and Leeds and Chelsea have agreed a 1.5 million fee with potential add-ons and a sell-on clause, but no buyback. So that is absolutely ridiculous. I just don't get it, because Bate is a serious talent. He's a young midfielder, left-footed, brilliant at driving with the ball in midfield, and he could have had a brilliant future at Chelsea. It upsets me seeing these kinds of talents leave Chelsea. As I've said, I'm going to go into it in more detail in another video, but all you need to know is that I'm absolutely fuming. I'm pissed off with the decision to sell all these top youngsters we have. It's winding me up, because we spent all this money on creating a good academy for them to not even get a chance. And it almost undermines the work Lampard did with the side. He brought in the likes of Mason Mount, etc. But now Tuchel's back in, it's kind of reverting back to old ways, not giving your academy youngsters a chance and putting money into the side rather than just investing in this youth and giving them a chance. So yeah, and Tino Livramento, he also reported that he is closing in on a move to Brighton. The right wing back, 18-year-old also, Chelsea's Academy Player of the Year last year, so I find that annoying as fuck as well. So yes, they're the two departures from the academy, and there's another one to follow, and as I've said, I'll discuss it in more detail, all three together, when they are confirmed. So yeah, they're my 4 Chelsea news stories for today. I hope you liked the video, and up the Chelsea.